welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
We're back again.
Episode 4.
Good. God, the fourth movie just kind of drains on, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do we need more sequels? Anyway, this week we don't have a sequel. We have something new, and
Yeah.
it's good. Like, really good.
It's original.
It's original.
Not based on a book.
And we're talking about the Quiet Place. Is that the
Mhm.
Oh, excuse me, A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Gotta get that right.
Because there's other quiet places.
That's
and this
right.
one's the quietest.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tick Counter. I'm your host, Tim.
I'm your other host, Anthony.
Oh, yeah. All right. Awkward. Anyway. So we're talking about Quiet Place today.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about doing this review in complete silence and maybe sign language, but I don't know if that would translate well into a podcast. So, man,
Yeah.
it was such a good idea. Too.
It was. It would have been groundbreaking.
It would have been groundbreaking, which kind of what this movie did, because most of the movie, no one says anything.
Dead silent.
Dead silent, the whole movie, which I really like.
Oh my god.
Before we continue, I got a buddy of mine sitting in here today. His name's Ethan. He's a little punk.
The first guest.
Our first guest. He went to see the movie with us. He might chime in. He might not. He might be a little punk. Might not say anything. You know.
I'll chime in with hand language. How about that?
That works.
Hand language? Okay. Wait, what is hand language? You mean sign language?
I call it hand language.
Okay, hand language. Okay, that's fine.
Does it just consist of middle fingers?
Just
Can you read that?
I mean,
Can you read that?
yeah.
So-
You hit the table, I can hear it anyway. But thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. I'm almost sure that you love listening to my wonderful voice along with my.
Oh, I do.
Oh.
So y'all normally just kick it off by talking about the movie immediately. Like, so we're gonna.
Have you never done like a podcast?
I mean, I've listened to podcasts
Mhm.
before,
But not our amazing podcast.
Well, I don't know what's amazing about it, but we have 5 subscribers. That's pretty solid. What do you think
Mhm.
about that, Ethan?
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Day 89.
Day 89. That is how the movies start. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to do a little bite size because I don't want to spoil this one unless people really want to be spoiled by it. So it stars a family. Let's see. We got Emily Blunt, John
Krasinski.
Yeah.
My boy from The Office.
Oh, yeah. He looked a lot different in this.
He's handsome.
He's a handsome man. I'm going to try and say this girl's name because I've never seen her before.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Millicent Simmons?
Okay. Millicent.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a common name.
No, it's not.
No.
Noah Jupe?
I believe it's, I don't know.
Jupe?
I can't,
And
it could be either.
Cade Woodward.
Mhm.
And that's it. That's the only people in this entire movie, which is a far cry from Pacific Rim's 90 people.
Yeah.
So it's,
Eight of whom who I had no idea had names.
yeah, no. I thought half the cast was CG. I didn't.
Must have added them in post.
But we have a family. They're living on a farm, and something's off. It's
Mhm.
very quiet. And it turns out they cannot make any noise, or these creatures will attack and ultimately kill them.
Oh, yeah. Let's hurry it up.
Which is very interesting because we don't know where they came from. We
Nope.
don't know if they're alien. We don't know if they're just creatures that, I don't know, fought out
Mm-hmm.
in some ice or something somewhere and bred really fast. We don't know nothing. But we know they're out there, and we know we got to be silent. And like Ethan said here, It starts in day 89, I suppose, of the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, I mean, before we break the movie down, do you want to just give a quick pre-spoiler?
oh yeah, that's what I like to do. I mean, try and not spoil good
Yeah.
movies. I mean, I think everybody could tell what was going to happen at Pacific Rim, but this one. So we'll just give a little brief. So the family. I mean, it's all isolated on this farm. The Emily Blunt's character is pregnant.
Mhm.
That's in the trailer, and they're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And they do it pretty damn well. And but some things happen that kind of spoil their
Little slice of heaven.
little slice of, I suppose, heaven. But I mean, they're living in fear. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't say heaven. But I mean, that's basically the movie. It's
Mhm.
like them just surviving and doing a pretty good job. And then, there's some mistakes. And, and I mean, that's really all I want to say about it before we get into spoilers, because it's done very well.
Yeah.
It's a great looking movie.
Mm-hmm.
The creatures, I liked a lot. The story, the characters. When you have just 5 characters, or 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think it's like at most 6.
Yeah,
If you're counting.
it's very focused, and I like movies that are focused and have a good story, and I care about these people. And we talked about this in the last review.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't give a shit, I don't care. Like, I don't care that you're punching monsters with a big robot if I don't give a shit. So this one is the complete opposite, and I frankly loved it.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I give it, a 9 out of 10.
I
don't give that very often, because I've seen movies out the ass, especially movies that try and do something different, and they ultimately just fail.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, it's just damn good.
No, I was going to give it a 9 out of 10 as well. It's expertly made. I know this isn't John Krasinski's directorial debut, but no, it's terrific, and it just makes me excited for what he's going to do in the future.
Now, is this like one of his, what is it, second movie?
I think it's his third. It's his third, because he did brief interviews with Hideous Men,
Mm-hmm.
but that was back in 2009.
Oh,
And then he also did The Hollers in 2016.
the what?
The Hollers.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's gonna be, this thing is gonna make a lot of money.
They say its budget was $17 million, and the box office so far is at $103.2 million right now, and it's still rising, of course.
I think that's a profit. I'm not great at math.
I think it did pretty well. Ethan, what do you got, man? Let's hear your thoughts on this.
Well, I mean, I gave it a 10 out of 10 for one, because, man, we got a good crowd. We didn't have a bunch of lazy, slobby pieces of shit in the theater that had to or spill candy all over the place. It was a quiet movie, and, I pay attention to those kind of things. So I gave it a 10 out of 10. And attention to detail, man. Not being a spoiler here, but I'm the type of guy who pays attention to the small things in a movie. And it shows it all. It does everything right, and I appreciate that about a movie.
Do you think it's a perfect movie?
No.
It's still 10 out of 10? I don't know. It's cool. I mean,
Would you, without spoiling anything, is there anything that you could talk about without spoiling it as to why a drawback of it?
I would have to think about it,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, this is a spoiler-free review, so.
Well, for right now. We're gonna get into it. Though.
Okay. For right now, but I'd have to come back to you about that question.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Let's just get into it, because I love this movie so much.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing to see something new. I'm sure some hipster guy is going to come out of the woodwork and be like, "Well, in 1962, this movie did something similar."
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking like the landscape of horror now.
Yeah.
You know? And the landscape now is, hey, boo. Are you scared? Are you scared yet? But in horror movies now, they don't really care about making a tense movie.
Mm-hmm. No, they forgo atmosphere completely. It seems
most horror movies have been going for the jump scares more than anything, and with this movie, they're like complete opposite. It's like, hey, let's be quiet about it, but at the same time, let's mix it up, and they do an excellent job in this movie with that. It's new.
Yeah, and speaking of quiet, holy shit, it's. And Ethan said like we had a fantastic crowd because no one talked. No one. I mean, we had a couple, popcorn munchers, but they were pretty quiet about it.
Crowd too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great crowd. It
I mean,
wasn't
percentage-wise, it was fantastic because I think there was only one guy I heard like 5 rows up and over to the side who had like a candy wrapper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like in the first 20 minutes, and after that,
I think there were people staring at him at a point in time, and he's like, "Oh shit, this movie's really quiet. I should probably I'm gonna eat that later, guys. Don't worry about me. I'm good."
Yeah, I got some nachos, and I was like, "Man, I better eat these quick, boy." You just see me munch them down real quick, boy. I tell you. But the quiet isn't really a gimmick. It's put into the movie as
they really
part
use
of
it
the
as a tool.
story.
Yeah,
And that's fantastic, in my opinion, because tense moments usually translate to Hollywood executives and people that make these Blumhouse jump scare fest. Or the louder it is, the scarier it is. I'll give you a great example. It, the new one.
Yeah.
For every time they were trying to scare you, they had loud fucking noises. And I'm like, it's still pretty scary.
Yeah.
But it's kind of ruined, Like, I'll give you a perfect example. The scene where he's who is the so he opens the door to that meat market, and you see him munching on something, and you see his glowing yellow eyes, right? But the scene, when he steps down, and you hear this loud stomp, and then you just hear loudness. And I was like, man, that scene would have been a lot more effective if it was just very slow and quiet, and he's just looking at you, and you're just creeped out. Because it's supposed to be scary, but Pennywise was also supposed to be inviting, because that's what he wants. He wants you to, hey, come on, Georgie, come on down here, But then, he wants you to be scared too. But loud noises just kind of take away from that. But this movie did it expertly,
Y'all want to talk about favorite characters?
Yeah,
or
go.
Do y'all have a different route?
Go ahead, bud.
I'm gonna have to.
The world is your burrito.
Yeah. Well, Emily Blunt, hell of a character in this movie. If I had a second, of course, it would go down the line of maybe oldest to youngest. But Emily Blunt plays one hell of a mother in this. She keeps her cool. She manages to stay quiet in the most intense scenes. She gives a good loud yell there for a second, and when shit seems to cool down a little bit. But
why don't you tell us about that scene?
If we haven't said before, spoiler time.
Yeah, spoilers. I mean,
I guess I'll break the ice with the spoiler on this one. Going into the movie Medium here, she's pregnant and she is about to have a baby.
That's usually how pregnancy works.
About to have a baby, meaning her water broke. How about that?
Yeah.
Her water breaks and no one's around. Everyone's doing their own thing. Worst thing possible, there's a brick in the house. Pretty much there's a nail loose in the stairs. And that is cringy, is it not?
Oh.
Cringy.
Well, what happens is she's bringing laundry up, and a nail in the stairs gets flung up because it gets stuck on the bag.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing's sticking up, and she didn't know. And then the worst possible moment that could come back into play.
Mm-hmm. What was the real reason why she was going down into the basement to begin with? Is it because that was her haven for her child? Or no, she was trying to turn on the alarms. That's what it was. The alarm system
When
for
she
lights.
stepped on it?
Yeah. Another attention to detail here is the lights, how she turned them to red. That was really neat. Attention to detail, man. It's so good. It's so good.
Oh, why are you?
Well, I figured you had something to say. We're just chit-chatting over here.
No, I completely agree. Just for a second there, yeah, it made me think that there almost was a plot hole where I was like, why was she doing it in that room? And then I realized because earlier she had made noise with her contraction starting.
Mm-hmm.
So she was doing it to turn the red lights on.
Yeah, when I saw that, you're absolutely right, because I was like, oh, I guess she just went down there because...
To step on the nail?
But then, like, she turns on the lights, I'm like, oh.
She was calling for help.
Yeah. Because, like, they have another basement room, which is the soundproof safe haven.
I think it's in their barn?
Yeah.
Something.
But, it's not where the light switch is.
Yeah. Which it kind of should have been, but whatever.
I mean, it's hard to do construction quietly.
Can we talk about, like, the beginning of this fucking movie?
Yeah, I was just.
my God.
I'm sorry, I was just doing favorite characters. I didn't know how y'all wanted to go about it.
No,
first.
man, just
No,
talk what you
we'll
want
mix
to
it up.
talk, man.
Yeah, mix it up. Yeah,
I told
you all know my favorite. Y'all know my favorite character. I'll go into more detail about her later. I'm sure I can find her on Pornhub. Can I say that?
Okay. You should probably check out a movie called Edge of Tomorrow. She's in a tank top, that whole movie, which is and she's sweaty, and it's pretty hot. One's pretty hot. I mean, like the beginning of the movie, it starts out with dead silent, and I loved it, but it sets the tone so perfectly. So what happens is a little boy finds a spaceship in a general store, and I guess it's battery operated, and he, his dad, which is John, his character is Lee Abbott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They never say names.
They didn't say names.
I was almost expecting the credits just to say father, mother, daughter, son, youngest son.
Man in the woods.
Yeah.
There's a character they come across.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the trailer actually, so he gets screen time in the trailer. An old man, his wife died, and she's been cut in half. I mean, it's brutal. They don't show it. It's PG-13, which is fine actually for this. And he just looks at the father and just screams just at the top of his lungs, and then the beast comes out and just annihilates the dude.
The stress in that man's face, though, very well.
Oh yeah. I mean, I felt for him because
he was done.
He was done, and he had
No
nothing
more
else
us
to
to
live
do.
for. But we're bringing that up because the credits give "Man in the Woods." That's who that was,
And like usually in a normal movie that wouldn't really pay attention to, but being as there were only 6 credits for actors.
Oh yeah. What was the beginning of the movie? it was one of my favorite setups.
Hmm.
I've seen it a long time actually. So little boy, who's been in the movie barely. He he's a kid, and he he has the spaceship, and it's gonna make noise. That's what it does. And but his dad takes it away, takes out the batteries, set it down quiet. He's like, no, it's too much noise. This is all in sign language, by the way. Not all of it. They do speak some.
Mhm.
But so he puts it down, but the sister is like, no, you can have it. Just shh, be quiet. And then later down, he grabs the batteries without anybody looking. And at first, like you said, we thought it would come up later.
Hmm.
Like, oh, it's setting up for something. Fuck no.
Well, it's like
No.
in the trailer, you see where it goes off.
Yeah. But
And-
you don't, know the result of that.
No.
This kid, so if you've seen the trailer, the kid turns the thing on
Mhm.
while they're on the train tracks. And he gets decimated. I think he gets cut in half, right there.
Mhm.
They did a good way of, not showing that, but the kid's taken, man. And it's bad. It destroys his family. And then it cuts to a year later, and they're, surviving. And
So what was it, 89 days, and now it was at 472.
72.
so it's about a year.
Year.
But you touched my microphone.
Touch it.
Son of a bitch. Hey,
I'll let you know when I want to talk.
oh, I know, because you're yelling.
I don't want to talk.
I love you, Ethan. Anyway. And, basically, it's kind of hard to describe the movie by plot point
Mhm.
because it's pretty just, the pacing's really good, and it's just keeps moving. And
Mhm.
it's not a snail's pace, but it just keeps moving. You're still invested. And there's a couple scenes where the kids make noise and they shouldn't, and the raccoons.
It's another thing to bring up.
Oh yeah. Anthony, tell us about the raccoons.
Well, yeah, they're playing Monopoly, and the kid.
Which all the pieces are felt, though.
Yeah.
Attention to detail.
But no, so they're rolling dice onto a road.
Mhm.
The kid unfortunately lands on his sister's property, so he has to pay. And then, unfortunately, reaching the wrong way, he knocks over an oil lamp, starts a fire, breaks the glass.
Which I have to ask.
Mhm.
It was pretty well lit in that room. I don't know why they had an oil lamp there, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being stupid.
Well, maybe it was like decently lit, but then they wanted to light a primary light source next to the game
Yeah,
to
I'm
read the
probably just being
cards.
stupid. Okay. I'll shut the hell up.
Yeah. God damn it!
God, just shut up, Tim. Just
Or trying to point out the
shut your
one plot
brain
hole.
off. I mean, it's not like this is a very intelligent, well-made movie.
Which it is.
Which it is, yes. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, and then so of course this is the first time that we throughout the movie we hear a lot of the creature outside walls and through walls. The
Yeah.
them.
Which remind me of Last of Us, which was
The clickers or
the
clackers.
clickers from that,
Mhm.
which I liked a lot.
But no, so we hear these sounds outside once they knock over the oil lamp and they put it out. Hear all these sounds outside and on the roof. Thinking, of course, it's a creature. And it's just a couple of raccoons.
Which I kind of liked seeing them because I thought about that and I was like, what about deer and other animals out in the woods?
And that's what I was bringing up animals for. Is I wonder what the world of animals are in this world of, the quiet place. I mean, being that these animals are just so strong and just purely are by sound, wouldn't animals go extinct? Wouldn't they grow hungry? Do they feed on animals? I mean, how many of them are? You know, it just makes you think. You know, is humanity almost extinct? I don't know.
Well, that's something I like because like we never get those answers, and you kind of leave the theater thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, you know, what about this and that, and how does this work, and you know, this and that, and I really enjoy movies that do that.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not like Cloverfield, because I saw the first two,
Yeah.
and there was so much mystery, and you know, this and that, and then you know, Cloverfield Lane shit the bed at the last 10 minutes, but that's okay.
Really?
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No. I love the way Cloverfield Lane ended.
Well, there's a little spoiler on Cloverfield Lane. At the end of the movie, there's big alien spaceship, and you know, I would have loved if it ended if while she was up on the car
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "Oh shit," and then cut. But like, I feel that the last 10 minutes were like executives like, "Well, we gotta have some kind of action scene or something," you know. But like seeing the alien shit and then like seeing, you know, um, it turn around and then she said the line, you could have cut that whole movie right there.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have been just a great fucking movie. But, I mean, it is a great movie.
Yeah.
I give it an enthusiastic recommendation, but that last 10 minutes, I'm like, But this movie, you know, it doesn't reveal anything.
No.
And I really like that. Like, the creatures almost look alien,
Mm-hmm.
but like, how did they get here? What happened? And you see like newspaper clippings, which was a smart way to kind of tell the anatomy. Like, well, why don't we just shoot them? And then there's a newspaper like they're impervious. They have some kind of armor,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, some of the questions are answered like, why don't we just shoot them? You know, but nothing about where they came from, how they came about. There's some stuff like how they figure out how they hunt. Like, oh, it's sound, it's
Yeah.
sound. And then there's also newspaper clippings about like death toll. Like Ethan was saying, like, are people going extinct?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we never know, and I really like that. You know.
Yeah. Talking about the creature, like I love the creature design.
Like, yeah, because it's fully armored.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, like, it's almost like scales. No, well, not really
No,
scales.
it's like just a tough hide, like rhino hide, but like.
Well, one of them like had like plate armor on its back. You know,
Mhm.
like big old like plates of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then their head is covered by, you know, that same, I guess, bone
Thickness.
but like their whole face opens up, and they can they move their face back and forth to like here,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just so cool. It reminded me of like
Cats with like ears where they.
yeah, like how they move them back and forth, but it's like their whole face,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then they're like they got just monstrous teeth. Like the mouth of them is just monstrous, and they have like it's really hard to describe because it's, you know,
Kind of like a necromorph with arms that have blades at the end. You know, they have that kind of feature about them. I don't know if they had blades on their legs, but I mean that's also a way to
well,
look at them.
I think they had like huge talons because they cut that woman in half with the old man in the woods. But why don't you explain what was it you said?
Necromorph.
Necromorph?
From Dead Space.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, man. I like that. Have you seen Dead Space?
No. I've not played that.
Well, they look like that monster
Okay.
in the movie.
Give it a Slender Man body and add a necromorph to it. That's what we were looking
Yeah, yeah. But like maybe like a face of a liquor from New Zealand,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you look it up?
Yeah.
It's about something like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I love the design of it, and they're fast and they're mean.
Not to mention, are they scary enough? You know, what will get a person crawling, you know, under their skin? You know, what would make it pleasable to the audience? And I think they really did a very good job, not with just the CGI, but the look and sound of the creature. I wonder how they went about making the sounds as well. That's interesting. The clicking in the background.
Well, I heard the clicking, but man, I heard the Velociraptor noise.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard
You know
it.
what? I also heard the Uganda Warriors in the background, but that was just me. You know.
You do not know the way.
Don't know the way.
Do not make a sound. But yeah, man, like you know, like you were saying, like what would be scary to an audience, and the scariest thing is the unknown. It's always been the unknown, and you see this beast, and you're just like, the fuck is that?
Mhm.
Like, how did that come to be? Like, why is it here? Well, we know why it's here to eat people, but but I'm saying like, there's so many unknowns to it, and that's what made it just truly a really terrifying creature. I mean, like it was a really tense. Like every time they were there, it was really tense.
Hmm.
And like for the first half of the movie, you know, they're setting up like the family's like predicament. Like, you know, she's pregnant. They have to walk on sand. They can't make any noise.
Hmm.
They use sign language. You know, they're setting up a barn for a baby, which I was like, how are they going to do that? But then the movie, like you said, attention to detail, explained that they would
Mhm.
have this soundproof room, and then if it gets crazy, they put the baby in a box with an oxygen mask,
Yeah.
which, you know, in a different situation that might seem a little like cruel, I guess.
Mhm.
Maybe even, you know, like, hey, it's a little. But in this situation, I was like, yeah, that would work.
Yeah. When you can't find a pacifier.
Can't find a pacifier. She's, you know, crying.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how you would survive with a baby. And I really, really enjoyed that attention. I really did. And, you know, and then the monsters kind of show up because, well, I wouldn't say the weak part of the movie, but I hated that daughter sometimes. Like, sometimes, like, she has this, like, teen angst
Mhm.
that is, like, you need to shape up because this shit's going, you know, down. You need to shape up a little bit.
See, that's so weird because she was my favorite character.
Oh, I loved her. I
Mhm.
loved her as a character, but I'm like, man, like you put the family in like some
Serious
dire situations.
She, I believe, was going through a teenage experience, but not only that, going through an apocalypse experience, and not only that, being deaf, and
Oh,
not
that's right,
only,
she was deaf.
and not only that, living with the burden of her brother's death. I mean, she gave that spaceship back to her brother, and what do you know? He picked up the batteries and blew that sucker in proportion. It only took 3 seconds for him to get cut down, and you know, I believe over time she started to see her family's, you know, body reactions. Just body language says a lot when you're deaf. I mean, you see everything more clearly, and she was stressed out, and she wasn't getting the attention she deserved, and you know, she did her own thing. I'm for that. You know, did we figure out what her name was?
Oh, the character's
Like,
name?
how do you pronounce her name?
Yeah, it's Millicent Simmons.
Millicent.
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 The character's name is Reagan. It's
Did you know
Reagan
that?
added, you know. It's like I had to read it twice. I was like, wait, Reagan?
Mm-hmm.
Like Reagan?
But no, I love how, because it's so quiet and so focused on sign language, that you never get that stereotypical movie dialogue in the beginning of a movie where they say each other's names repeatedly
Hmm.
over and over just so you know it
Come
later.
on, Lee.
Yeah.
You need to stop that.
Whatever you say, Jennifer.
Reagan needs to go to school.
Okay.
Evelyn, I've got this. Like
Yeah,
you know.
that. That's why I was so surprised they even had names in the end credits.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they didn't mention their name at all because, if you've known someone, you don't really say their name.
No.
Like I'm saying, you're like that's what Ethan said
Mhm.
because people can't see us, but we know each other. I wouldn't be like, hello, Ethan. I'm glad you're here, Ethan. Ethan, Ethan, Ethan. Ethan.
Let's do some food, Ethan.
But yeah, you would just be like, hey man, let's go get some grub.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like that they didn't say their names. It felt authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Like family knows each other. They don't need to, say their name or
Mhm.
anything. I really like the little boy too, because you can kind of relate to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just constantly scared. I mean, like I think he was. No, he wasn't, because it was on the train tracks when the little brother got taken up. He was
Yeah.
like in the front, so he didn't see all of it. But he was there and he saw it happen, and he was just constantly scared. And there's a really great scene where his dad takes him out to the waterfall, and he kind of learns that like how to survive. And with the waterfall and the water and the river, he can talk. They
Mhm.
actually talk to each other, and it was a really sweet scene. And then the son, I mean, he's a little more grown up than you think, because he's talking to his dad like, hey, do you blame her for what happened? Do you love her? And I was like, man, there's some serious shit coming out of I think like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old boy. And I really liked that scene because
Mhm.
it was like some of the best character development in the movie, I thought. And I just liked how there was a moment where they're screaming into the waterfall, like they can't get us because this is louder,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of comes into play, a little bit down the line in the movie.
It was a scene of mental release to me.
Yeah, like because it's quiet and tense, but then like there's this moment where, you just get a couple moments like that, but it was really nice. Like you said, mental relief. I like that. I like that. Good on you, Ethan. Ethan, because no one knows your name, so I got to give exposition dialogue to tell people. So, and that was another thing. Like, there's like really no exposition in this. Like, you see it
Mm-hmm.
and you learn by watching. Fucking love it in movies.
Yeah.
Like we saw, what was it? Oh, Ready Player One, last week's review. Like he literally, the first of the movie, he's just telling everything. Like, why don't you just show it?
Mm-hmm.
Like they even gave exposition about the monster without even saying a word. They just showed it in newspaper clippings, like things about it. Excellent.
Oh yeah. And like I even loved how often they show the monster, like how they weren't trying to hide it.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I don't know, that's annoying sometimes to me.
Well, I mean, you have to have kind of a half and half.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's funny because like like one of the greatest movies to do it was Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason that happened is because Bruce the shark was a piece of shit. But it turned out to be like the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And another movie that did it, I thought, pretty well, which I didn't think people could do it with Godzilla because he's so big.
Mm-hmm.
But, they found a way. Like, he's in shadow and rubble, and then, it's dark. And
Are you talking about like the 2014 one?
yeah.
Yeah, I like that one.
It was a great way to kind of do it. I mean, like, I love the thing where, like, well, so we clocked it. He's only in there for 13 minutes. I'm like, that's some of the best 13 minutes Godzilla's ever had. Fuck. You know? But yeah, you're right. They showed the monsters in a way where it's still mysterious, still scary, but not stupid.
Yeah.
And one scene that I loved.
Mm-hmm.
So she gives birth after this tense scene, which I'm going to let Ethan describe that one here in a minute because Emily Blunt's his girl. But so they attack, and the baby's born, and they go under the barn, and a water pipe busts. So she's passed out. I mean, she just gave birth. She had a nail in her foot, and she had to deal with all these fucking monsters. So she's taking a nap, which I completely understand. And so the basement floods. So the baby's just kind of floating in the crib. And there's a monster in there, like full on. And it's a small fucking room.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these creatures are probably the size of, I would say the size of,
I don't know, they looked at least like 7 or 8 feet tall.
If they stood up, 7 or 8 feet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, with arms, they're probably, like, if they extended their arm, they're probably like 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
And the thing can swim.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it didn't need to take a breath.
Yeah. He goes under the water, and she's in there with it. And the moment she picks up her baby, and the head just comes out. It's not even like it's just slowly comes out of this water. I'm like, oh my god.
And she keeps her fucking cool. She is a badass.
I mean, I would say like frozen with terror in that scene, but you're right. Like she kept it together long enough to, keep it together.
Yeah.
I love that scene. It was so good. I'm just sitting here thinking about it because it slowly comes out of the water. It doesn't just pop up. It's not like stupid, like Pennywise. Just, you know the scene I'm talking about.
And it's not even like it's not even coming up behind her.
No, it's
coming right in front of her,
face to face, and you really get a good look at it from that scene. And man, I just love good movies, man. And I guess we got to talk about the father going out.
Oh.
So, well, let me backtrack a little bit.
Let's start. Let's start with the main scenario. Okay, we know that the mother is pregnant, and when she went down to the basement, she landed on a nail, and she dropped something. I don't know what that something was. Do we know?
It looked like a photo frame.
It was a picture of the little boy.
Little boy. Okay.
Because she was up in his room, sobbing.
Sobbing.
Remember?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And she was just kind of looking at all the spaceships in his room. Yeah.
We should also backtrack and say that the teenage girl, the one that you're not a big fan of.
Well, it's not that I'm not a fan of her. Like in the movie,
just
like she played her part so well.
But you thought maybe like the part was written too teen angsty?
No. I'm like, man, if you didn't do that, this shit wouldn't be happening.
Oh yeah.
But that's kind of like the point.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a detriment, in my opinion. But that was kind of the point. Like, get your shit together, you know? Like, because she does a couple things that are, silly.
Yeah. So the father and the son were out on a mental release, and of course they ran into the man in the woods. And before that, you had the teenage daughter, Death, going on her teenage spree of not doing what she's supposed to do, and she ends up where her little brother was killed. And in the process of that going on, the mother's alone. She's stressed out about her son. Her water breaks. In the process of her water break, she decides to pick up the picture frame of her son and walk down the stairs and call for help. But little did she know about the nail that she stirred up on the stairs from carrying that bag up doing laundry. She dropped it, and She kept her cool. Everything was cool. We all thought everything was cool, but it wasn't. She called for help, and there's a fucking monster in the house out of nowhere, and she's holding in the baby, and she's bleeding from the foot. Let me take it from there, Tim.
Oh, okay.
It was just a.
I thought you were going to describe.
I'm
the
just
whole scene.
getting us where we need to be, and then you
Mhm.
take off.
Okay. Well, man, I love this scene too.
Right.
I love all the scenes
Yeah.
because I love the movie.
What did she do afterwards, though?
Well,
Yeah.
she basically goes upstairs. Oh no, she's sent. Okay, she's hiding in this basement,
hmm
and she sets an alarm clock across the room.
Oh yeah, the egg timer.
Yeah,
Good.
the egg timer, and which has a rocket ship on it. You remember the egg timers with the rocket ship?
No,
No, it looked like a little rocket ship, I think.
for the
Grandma
little
had one.
for the little crank.
Yeah, Grandma had
Huh.
one. You remember?
No,
No? Well, I remember. Anyway,
I thought I was deprived of.
Probably set 5 minutes on it or so.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it kind of looked like a little rocket ship. Like it was like boop, 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 bing. So it goes off, and she is able to go upstairs, pregnant, about to give birth, nail in the foot, dodges the nail twice, or again, which, man, I really thought she was going to step on it again. Like, I was like, oh my God. Yeah, see, it looks like a rocket ship. He brought it up.
Oh,
I wonder if that's kind of like a subtle thing. You know?
maybe.
Um,
I always grew up with more like those
oh,
that
yeah.
were just ambiguous.
Yeah. But she makes it upstairs, and she crawls into a bathtub, and the camera does a good thing of going up her body. I mean, you
Mhm.
don't see anything, but you see blood coming from her, vagina,
Yes.
and
Not
Like-
you don't see her vagina, but yeah, there's blood.
I just said you don't see
See.
anything, Ethan. Stop getting excited over it, goodness. But it's so tense. Like you're just like, oh my God, you just got your hands on your seat,
hmm
and like it just goes on, and then eventually the creature nearly like gets to her,
hmm
and like she's in tears, and her face is in pain and agony, and at just in the moment she just can't take it anymore and just screams. Fireworks go off. The guys are back, and they see the red lights, and the husband's like, "You gotta go light a rocket,"
hmm
and he's scared to do it. So he's in the corn, and he eventually makes it to where they've set up this like diversion of fireworks. And as soon as that happened, I was like, "Oh my God, thank God!" Oh shit! But then you don't see her for a minute, and he comes in with a shotgun, and the creatures are gone, and there's blood all over the bathroom, and he starts crying, and I'm like, no, because this is the type of movie that would happen,
Yeah, and like I've well, unfortunately, I knew she was still alive because there's the scene in the trailer where they're talking.
Yeah, that's true.
So then you're like, well, that scene still needs to happen. So
Yeah. Well, you never know. I mean, they change scenes up all the time. You know that.
tell me about it.
Tell
How
me
disappointed
about it.
I was with Road One.
Man, let's not get into Star Wars or Disney Wars, as it's called. But the scene ends. He's in the shower, which I'm glad the fireworks were still gone because she bangs the shit out of that shower door. Just bam. I'm like, oh no, don't make noise. But like, she couldn't help it.
She fainted in that scene too. Right after that, she's just like, the father was so relieved. He's like trying to kiss her. She's like, I'm gonna. She passed the fuck out. She was done.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all.
She was done.
And then that's where they end up in the basement, and everything seems okay, but then the kids are still out there, and man, like every scene is just so tense.
Yeah,
I loved it.
it's so good at like ratcheting it up and then release and then
Yeah,
cranking it back up.
yeah,
A little bit
yeah,
of
yeah.
release.
That's a good, good ratchet up.
Because it's like a roller coaster.
Oh yeah, a very intense, mind-numbing roller coaster.
So you're at the part where the wife passes out. You're gonna keep going, or you want someone else to take it over from there?
Oh man, we just talking, bro.
Yeah.
What
I know,
what
we're
you
just
got to say, man?
From there, I guess I can continue on about
Yeah,
what
go
happens,
ahead, man.
go into detail. But
Let's see what you got. What you got?
It was good that the son went on that mental release field trip with her father, or with his father, because I felt like he wouldn't have worked up the courage to actually go out and set off the fireworks to help his mom. And you know, in the process of him doing that, you know, he worked up some mental with there, and the process of the father finding the mother. He had enough time to actually get the mother and the child to the barn and go under in the nick of time, because the monster was right at their back. And I think they had a small, what would you call a session with one another, being able to talk. I don't know how long she passed out before she woke up.
It wasn't long because it was still nighttime.
Yeah.
This all happened while it was dark.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a little powwow, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
relief, but then, Emily Blunt, she just like realizes that her other two children aren't there, and that opens up a can of worms. So
Yep. That opened up quite a bit of can of worms there. I guess the scene after that, when everything's safe and sound with the newborn child, mother and father.
Which they put in a box.
They put in a box. Put a what would you call it? An air mask or
an oxygen
mask on the baby, and then locked him up in a small
Words.
box. Words, I know. Of course, the two kids are outside alone with these monsters, and the small son gets frightened and runs into a tractor tire and knocks himself out, I guess, as we would think, because the camera pans away after that. And then we come across the monster's weakness with the teenager finally coming into the movie. Into the
Oh,
play.
yeah. There's a scene earlier.
Oh yeah, of the father John Krasinski making. Because it seems that in the intervening year, her hearing aid broke, and that he has been consistently trying to recreate it or fix it through various iterations.
Yeah, he's. But I also like he's not like a genius.
Yeah.
Like there was a movie, Kate Basinger. No, I can't remember the actress's name. She was in Batman.
Katie Holmes.
Was it Katie Holmes?
She was in Batman.
Like Jack Nicholson in Batman?
Oh no, Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger or something.
Yeah.
There was a movie she was like trapped, and she had a cell phone, and it was busted. But then she
Cellular. Cellular.
Yeah,
with like Chris Pine and No, I know this movie.
I can't remember. But
Yes, David R. Ellis. Yeah, she manages to repair the phone.
Yeah, like no.
To the point where it would just dial out random numbers.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, that you can't just like if I busted open my phone, I wouldn't know how to fucking put that back together.
What are you talking about? She was a high school science teacher.
That's a science teacher, not an engineer.
Well,
not an electrician.
No, I remember this movie.
Yeah, that's it, right.
I like that movie.
But I'm saying, like, he didn't, like, the father didn't know how to fix this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's constantly trying to do it. And what he accidentally does is...
He doesn't fix it, but he
he accidentally figures out. Well, he doesn't figure it out. Like they
Yeah,
don't
it's-
even know, except for the daughter, that the thing's tuned into a frequency that just fucks these monsters up.
Mm-hmm.
Like just annihilates them. And at first, there's a scene where she's coming back from the grave of her little brother,
Mm-hmm.
and she stops because the flashlight's shining in the cornfield, and she's just kind of looking, right? And she has the thing on. She put it on because she was upset, and she just put it on, and you
Yeah,
know,
just to try it.
just to try it. Well, of course, it didn't work. She couldn't hear anything. But the thing is, like, there's a really good scene where the monster comes out of the cornfield. She can't hear this.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, imagine like this 8-foot tall monstrosity just coming out of slowly, right? And she's kind of rustling in this corn, like looking to see what's going on. So it can kind of hear her. Like,
Mhm.
it's not like, oh, I heard something, I'm going to attack, but like, he's searching, and she gets close to him, or he gets close to her. I don't know if it's he or the monster.
It.
Yeah, and like the frequency goes off in her head,
Mm-hmm.
and she's in pain. But like you see the monster behind her, like just writhing in pain. Like the frequency is, it was almost like feedback,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just messed up. And I thought that was great, because like, how do you defeat them? How do you do anything about it? Oh well, they have hearing. Just find the right frequency by accident,
Yeah.
and you can fuck them up. But they don't know that yet, because the monster retreats, and they don't know what happened. Like, she's
Mhm.
just like, oh, my head hurt a little bit, and
And-
then go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just to jump up a little bit, I think that's what makes the father's death like 10 times more tragic.
Yeah,
Is knowing that even at that point in the truck, she still hadn't quite figured out that the earpiece hearing aid does that,
and
and then so she turns it off because it's hurting her, and then Dad sacrifices himself, and then of course us as audience members are like, no, just wait, like you guys figured it out. Please don't die.
well,
No,
that's
no.
the thing. Like, that's why I kind of said in the beginning that she does some things that I'm like, oh my god, get your shit together, right? But she didn't know,
No.
and I still loved her character. But yeah, I mean, if only she realized it sooner, then her father wouldn't have perished. And it's bad how it goes out, man. Like, if this was rated R, man, he would have been just chopped up, you know. Man, the corn scene. I've never seen such dangerous corn in my entire life. So there's a scene they're on top of the silo,
Mhm.
and they're standing and they're arguing like, he'll come for us, And this is right after Emily Blunt is down there in the cellar, and he's trying to find them. He can't find her. Like, they have monitors around their farm. They can't find each other, and so they're arguing, but then the silo doors open,
Mhm.
and there's a big noise, and the poor boy is drowning in corn. Like, it's just dry corn, and he's drowning in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the door falls off, makes a big noise, and she can't hear any of this, and she's just kind of like, "Where'd he go?" And she kind of walks over, and she's like, "Oh shit, oh shit!" And then she jumps in there,
Mm-hmm.
trying to save him, and they're trying to do that, and it's a really tense scene, because like, they almost drown in just corn. I'm like, I didn't know corn could did that. Like, I didn't know it was like quicksand. But they eventually are okay. But then the monster just boom, just shows up out of fucking nowhere. Like,
Mhm.
it just jumps in there, and the hearing aid thing comes into play again, and like just scares them on, like, just pain, and just burst through it.
Mhm.
And then they get out, and that I kind of chuckled. I was like, man, it's dangerous fucking corn.
No, it is. It is super dangerous corn. I didn't have anything to add to that.
Oh,
Bad.
I have something to add.
You're
to
all
that.
really bad at this.
No. You're just so good at it, is what it is.
I guess so. I was just
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, but I mean, the scene when they're in the corn. I mean, there was 2 times where like they both almost lost their lives because of this fucking corn. This corn was deadly.
Some deadly corn.
And the only thing that saved their life, Titanic moment, was a small piece of door that fell off, and they had to grab onto it. Of course, both of them fat on that door that fell over top of the corn, so they were able to.
See that? See, Jack could have survived.
Yeah.
Jack could have survived. They didn't sink in the corn, and he couldn't. He wouldn't have sunk into the ocean.
Yeah.
But whatever.
At this point, when they survive the corn and this monster runs off, of course, I think the teenage girl's starting to get kind of annoyed with her earbud. She didn't turn it off yet, but she's about ready to. And
No, I think she turns it off after that incident.
She doesn't turn it off until she's in the truck.
Oh, that's right.
So good news is afterwards they run into the father. They finally rendezvous and hugs and everything. And of course, that part is the scene right after that is when, of course, the mother has to deal with the child and water and everything, which was
Still get goosebumps on
really
that.
stressful scene, the goosebump scene. But so the father makes the big thing is, hey, make her way to the truck. So the 2 kids run straight for the truck, and the father gets in defensive mode. I don't know why he wouldn't just go straight to the house and bunker down and not cause any sound, but he picks up an axe and he acts like he's gonna be able to do something. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe there was I was thinking that there was going to be an army of them, and he would have no choice but to I don't know, stand his ground. He would have a hell of a lot easier time if he went back home and picked up that fucking shotgun. But it is what it is. Maybe it was just a lost cause for him. Maybe he was just at a point to where, man, I have to defend my family and I will do whatever it takes. Of course, he gets spotted. Monster knocks him down when he swung the axe, and he took a hard hit. I think he gashed his chest out.
Oh yeah, he was bleeding out.
And the son, which we could call him 8 or 9 years old,
Oh, yeah.
yells out, "Dad!" and gives his position away. And of course, the monster takes right after the truck, throws that truck around like a rag doll, and in the process of that happening, teenage deaf girl turns off the earbud. That's when the crowd was like, "No,
No, don't do it.
don't do it!" And
Yeah, I had 3 girls like, "Girl, what are you doing?"
yeah. And in that moment, Dad had to play hero. He stood up. He was bleeding. He knew he was done, and he was about to pass out. And he made that epic. I'm gonna say hand language here. Hand language at his daughter. He's like, "I love you."
Sign language.
Sign language. "I love you. I want you to know that I've always loved you." And a couple seconds pass, and he gives out a huge roar. I would call it a...
It's almost like a Kratos roar.
or you could call it a Mufasa roar, but...
A Quiet Place brought to you by Disney.
Quiet Place brought to you by Disney.
They'd be like, "I love you." Nah,
Yeah.
On the drive home, Tim and I were talking about, hey, what if he just yelled, "I love you, and I always wanted you to know," without saying that I loved your daughter? It's like,
It would have gotten the biggest laugh in the movie.
Just yelling at the top of your lungs that you love her. It would have sounded funny and goofy, but he went out screaming, and apparently the truck was in Drew Park, and it was on a hill. I didn't know that.
Yeah, earlier in the movie, he was acting like he was driving the truck, and he was like playing with the. He wasn't playing with the handbrake, but he was acting like he was.
Yeah.
And that kind of came into play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was going to be like a Chekhov's gun where he was going to turn the car on
Mhm.
at some point too as a distraction.
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah. And it brings up the fact that, hey, that truck was there for an exit plan, clearly. Because
Mhm.
it was just one way to get from the farm to the other as quick as possible. And it brings you back to the father. Why didn't he do that? Maybe it's because he knew that if he would have gotten in the truck, he would have just gotten tore down from the noise that it would have made.
Well, you got to think, though. I mean, the man was afraid. And when you're in that situation, I mean, it's just so difficult to make like rash decisions. So you make the first thing you can think of, right? Like get out of the truck. I'll fend it off. And usually in a movie like that, you'd be like, well, that was fucking stupid. Why didn't you do this, this, and this? But this situation, I don't know. I just felt like it would have ended up like that no matter what he would have done.
Mhm.
So I kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was brutal how he went down
Mhm.
too, man.
I think that he possibly knew that there was a chance that he wasn't going to make it with his family. So he played the defense in this mission. Was like, okay, kid's got to make it. I'm the defense here.
Do you mean like he wasn't gonna make it as a father, or in the situation?
Make it as, hey, these kids have to survive, and in order for that to be slightly possible, I need to stay in the back here and,
Well, yeah,
cause a
I mean that's
distraction
what
so
a
they
father
can get
does.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he played that exceptionally well. So the kids make it down to the farmhouse. They put the truck in neutral,
Mhm.
and they slide on down. I'm surprised they didn't get any monsters chase after them, but
Well, they did.
oh, they did.
The
But
next month,
they're super fast though.
Well, they were busy eating the dad.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
they were having a snack.
Oh, they're having a snack. Forgot.
Mhm.
See, being that this movie's PG-13, you never saw the monsters actually like snacking
No.
on any of the humans. I would like to see
I-
how they snack. What's their favorite part of the human body?
Well, I almost guarantee this is a rated R movie at one point.
Yeah.
I almost guarantee it.
Yeah.
Because you see the old woman in the
Mhm.
forest, and it cuts.
Mhm.
That they were going to show that woman cut in half.
Mhm.
Like you just knew it, but like it was trimmed a little bit to make it that PG-13, which I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't even like. I thought this was rated R at one point, but then like I went to buy my ticket, and I was like, oh, it's PG-13. Okay, whatever. And it's not a detriment at all.
You notice how many movies pull out the PG-13 so they can drag a
Mhm.
bigger crowd. I've seen that a lot now. Where hey, we need to draw out a bigger crowd. We need more tickets. We need more buyers. Bring a PG-13. Maybe they fell in a scenario like that where they didn't feel like it was going to do good, so they put it at PG-13. I don't know. It limits it sometimes.
I almost guarantee the big shots had no faith in this.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I almost guarantee it. But, it's still a great movie. So it's going to do just fine.
Well, yeah,
but
it
the
is
thing
doing
is,
very
what you're
fine.
saying with the PG-13,
Mhm.
The thing is, they're starting to not do that. They're starting to make rated R stuff.
Deadpool.
And like, take my thunder.
Took you thunder. My bad, bruh. Go ahead.
Took my thunder.
Well, you can talk about Logan
Oh yeah, Logan.
Logan,
And then
yeah.
the New Mutants is coming out. I think that's rated
whenever
R.
that comes out.
Yeah. I hear there's problems. But
What about the new Venom movie? I hope that one's rated R.
I don't think that's been rated yet, actually.
Dude,
You could do a PG-13 movie.
with Venom, you
Yeah,
probably
you could.
could. But Dark Venom, I would like to see it.
And then, of course, Deadpool 2 is coming out. So I really think this didn't need to be rated R.
Mhm.
I thought it was fine the way it was.
Definitely, it definitely succeeded not needing to be rated R as is.
But then there are movies that are rated R that kind of you didn't really. I'll give you an
Oh, that
example
wasted.
of Mad Max Fury Road. I completely forgot that was rated R.
Why is that rated R?
Exactly. Well, there's blood. The dude gets his face ripped off.
Mm.
Yeah.
How that dude handles that baby out of the womb.
Mostly because most of all the deaths that happened, it was them just
And it's
falling
just-
off vehicles going.
Like there's like, you know, kind of insinuation of like rape.
Oh yeah,
Because of the
Grand
lives
Imperator.
of, you know, they're just like the grittiness and the just lowness and dirtiness of it. It kind of like a 13-year-old would just see cars and stuff, but like there's a lot of other underlining things in that
Mhm.
movie. So I think it was rated R. But I mean, you could have done like a PG-13 cut, maybe take out like the face ripping and a couple other things.
Mhm.
And it would still been a great movie, but it's perfect the way it is because it's so good, so
Yeah.
good. We gotta do a review of that one day.
Okay.
Just go through the Mad Max.
So now we're at the max scene, or the max, the conclusion, you could call it.
The Max what?
The max. Well, you got me saying max now, so I'll call it max something.
The
Max
ma-
resolution.
Are you
Maximum.
okay?
The maximum finale.
Mass. Yeah, yeah.
The finale
yeah.
is at maximum finale.
There you
yes.
go. Yeah. The ultimate maximum
It's
conclusion.
very much an ending.
So they get to the house after the truck rolls down the hill. They reunite with the mother. She's got a shotgun in the hand, and I think she already knows what happened because she was watching the cameras the whole time.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I got my kids. I need to put together because we know this mother's a badass. She
Mhm.
just had a baby. She stepped on a nail. She survived. I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 monsters in this house.
Should be alright.
She'd be alright. Anyway, she'd be alright. I'm talking too highly of her. I know, but
No, I agree completely.
yeah. So the first thing that they did is they run to the basement. And what was their overall objective when getting to the basement? Were they just planning on dying, or
Well, I think it's the quietest place in the house
yeah,
in terms of sound dampening.
yeah? We can-
and
we
the
agree to that.
barn has been flooded.
Yeah, so the barn's been flooded. The last place they seem to be going to is the basement of the house. Baby is full on out, and you brought it up to you said that the baby was probably going to be, I don't know, smothered. There was a moment where you thought that was going to happen.
Well, there was like because this is kind of a really bleak movie
Mm-hmm.
at some points, which the ending I really liked. But the thing is, like, I thought at one point there would be a scene where either they're all gonna die
Mhm.
unless his baby's smothered. But thankfully that didn't happen. In fact, I was very glad it didn't happen.
What kind of movie would it be if that did happen? You know, it's like, all right, we got to kill the baby in the end. The end. Be bad.
It'd be almost as bad as The Mist.
Yeah.
You remember the ending of The Mist?
I never finished it.
What about you? Well, let me spoil that for
Oh,
you.
but I have heard of it. Doesn't he kill his son?
He shoots everyone in that car except for himself. And then 2 seconds later, the army rolls through the mist. And he could have saved his whole family. What? I left that theater. I saw it in
But-
theater, and it was maddening.
Mm-hmm.
I was like it wasn't even like 5 minutes. It was like seconds, man. Ugh.
But the thing is I thought maybe they would have at least seen it a little bit. Seen it meaning like showed it, like the mother walking up to the child and just like, you know, slowly putting her hand or a pillow over the baby just to save her other 2 children, you know. But they didn't show that. They stood their ground and they remained silent. In the process of remaining silent, the baby was not being cooperative. The youngest child, the son,
Joel? Was it Joel or
Joel?
Noah?
Joel or Noah,
I think it was Noah.
yeah, he was
Noah Jupe.
holding the infant baby, trying to comfort the baby and calm her down. Of course, that
Calm
wasn't
down, it's a boy.
boy, trying to calm down the baby boy. It wasn't working, so mother, in defense mode, holds the shotgun and notices that the monster is creeping down the stairs, and
Which he never hits that nail, by the way.
yeah, never hits the nail. And attention to detail here, when they went down the stairs, the mother points out the nail. It's just like, because, you know, you got a deaf child, you got to point that shit out. It's not like you can simply just tell that to your deaf child, hey, there's a nail there, and walks down. But anyways,
Well, the thing is, like, they're going down, and there's like a pool of blood on it,
yeah,
and it's daylight now,
Yeah.
like it's morning.
yeah. How could you miss that? Yeah,
Yeah, so you probably could, like, I understand, like I agree, like she points out, and that's great, but I think they would have seen it because there's a lot of blood on
Yeah.
the nail, man.
And
When
plus-
she
I
pulled
don't-
her foot out, it was
I don't think they had shoes on this whole movie.
No.
Not a single one of
No.
them. Yeah, so point that
which
out.
actually I thought about for a moment.
Mhm.
Because they go to like into town and stuff. I'm like, I don't know. You could buy like some kind of track shoe that you could have been comfortable in. There are those like really thin
Mhm.
athletic shoes.
I think those would have been louder on the sand.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
To
I don't
tap
know.
the
I would
floor
have to
a lot,
like
though.
sit there and test
Yeah.
out
Mhm.
sneakers to figure out.
Yeah.
But barefoot,
I'd like to imagine the dad did
yeah,
on like day 12.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Like,
I lost another child because these damn shoes.
let me get my steel-toed boots on real quick.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But
bad idea.
apparently, the deaf daughter was not allowed in this basement throughout the movie, and we finally realized that reason. Well, I really don't know the whole reason. Maybe you all can back me up on this. But,
Yeah.
Well, but go ahead.
Oh, I was kind of confused too as to why the kid wasn't allowed down there.
Well, I think
Was it to see like the father's obsessiveness over?
no. I think it was more of there was a lot of research down there.
Mhm.
Like there was a lot of scary newspapers,
Okay.
and he was watching over the farm, and it was honestly like, I mean, I wouldn't let some people into my room
Mhm.
because that's my space. So that was kind of like his workspace,
Mhm.
and he probably didn't want to see the fact that he was obsessing over a hearing aid so much and constantly failing, and I don't know. I mean, that's what I think, at least. I'm not really sure.
he maybe he was losing like that connection with his daughter because apparently the son called him out as, hey, you need to tell your daughter you love her because she thinks that you're mad at her. And maybe the basement scene would have been too much for her because she is kind of curious about what's going on,
Mhm.
about being deaf and she being the oldest child. But there was a moment there where the mother and the daughter they were tearing up, and she was holding a bunch of earbuds for her. What would you call that?
Hearing
Hearing
aids?
aid.
Hearing aid.
What would you really?
I mean, I don't know if y'all had a name for it at all. I mean, yeah, you could call it a hearing aid.
Words.
Words, exactly. Call me out for them. But what made her want to turn on that hearing aid again?
Well, so the scene plays out. She's kind of looking at it, and then she kind of, I think, remembers about the truck and the corn stuff, the corn silo,
Mhm.
and she realizes, hey, it's doing something. She turns it on to like see, and it's working. So she,
It puts her in pain, but she sticks through it. She's just like, this is painful, but I'm doing it anyways. So
well, yeah, but she eventually just takes it off, puts it up on that microphone,
Mhm.
fucks that thing up.
Mhm.
I was
Yeah.
so glad,
It-
and I thought it killed it.
it ripped the armor off of its head. Did you
Yeah.
notice that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was,
like,
it was
it-
like screwing around with the armor on his face.
How did you say like not destroyed it because it's still there, but
Mhm.
it's no longer under his control.
Yeah,
It's like,
like it was like just.
busted the controls for it, so it's just flopping around.
Mhm.
These like
I think it was
ears.
almost like if a bat heard something like that,
Mhm.
it would just like not be able to fly. It would
Mhm.
just and then crash. Excuse me. And then Emily Blunt puts a fucking shell in its face,
yeah.
Because
and
it tries to jump up with the surprise. Hey, you thought you killed me. Blunt.
not today, bitch.
Yeah.
And blows its head, and the revelation that holy shit, we just killed one of these things.
Mhm.
And I love the edit so much because you see on the monitors that there are more, like a bunch more.
Oh my god.
And they kind of look at each other, and Emily Blunt gives like this shit-eating grin. It's fantastic, and she just pumps that shotgun, and then the movie ends. I'm like, yeah.
Next infant child is deaf as well, so two children with deaf ears now. Because I mean, how many shotguns is she blowing up next? I mean, that's loud. I'm just
That's a
saying,
deaf baby.
another deaf baby. I got 2 deaf children.
I don't think like it making her deaf.
I know. I'm joking around. Teasing.
I mean, it is loud as fuck. But I like I mean, you kind of got a point because I have a shotgun, and we went out to the range to use it. It's fucking loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's not like you're blowing it off. It's not like you're blowing it off right next to the baby. It just, hey, this baby's down here with us, probably going to start crying like crazy because you're firing a loud ass
a
gun.
little boy can just, boop, earmuffs, kid, earmuffs.
But can you imagine being a kid and then the mom being like, "Let me tell you about the day you were born."
Yeah. Look, it was the apocalypse, okay? And
we hadn't figured out how to kill him yet.
we couldn't talk or nothing, but now we got you,
To mix it up a little bit, I was thinking, because you remember this scene, this is backtracking back in the movie a little bit, where he lit the fire and there were other fires that lit, like there was a community that was around.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't communicate at all with those other people. Why do you think they didn't put that in the movie? Did they not need to? Or was this just a movie about them being in this quiet place with one another? I mean, it makes you think. Another mystery, I know, another mystery.
Well, the thing is, I almost think the man in the woods that they knew exactly, the father knew who that was.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they keep separate because it would, if somebody makes noise, you put everybody in.
Yeah.
So they just kind of keep to themselves. And I think, because there's a scene where the father lights the fire on top of the silo, and you see other fires. But then, the children do it, and you see no fire. And I think that's more of, they didn't want to light them because, shit was going down because fireworks went off.
Yeah, they went into hiding, probably.
Yeah, they were probably under their houses.
See, I took it as more of an ominous thing where, because of all the noises happening on their farm, it was bringing, these creatures from, way out, beyond all the ranges of the farms. And then, so on their way, they were running into...
killing people?
Yeah, they were running into other people's farms.
It never felt like an army ever showed up. I would have liked to have seen at least an army of those monsters finally showing up, and then there'd be some badassery in the end, where she goes full on ham with the shotgun, and she does some crazy stuff with the earbud.
I don't know,
But
because
that's safe for the sequel. A Quiet Place 2, turn up the volume.
Oh, don't worry.
Turn up the volume.
Well, here's the thing. It's made by Platinum Dunes, which, as you know, is made by Michael Bay, who does terrible Transformer movies. So
Ninja Turtle movies as well.
Well, he didn't direct those.
He didn't direct them, but he made those. Let's be honest. He was like this. He had a hand on that dude's shoulder, you're going to do it like this. But the thing is, I think it would have been kind of cheap in the ending if there was a big old Michael Bay-ish, gunning down monsters left and right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it ended perfectly. I love this. I love this fucking movie, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so long since I just sat down and watched a good movie that I really was excited for.
Yeah. Also, there was a point in time throughout this movie where I was thinking, hey, is it just this family out here on this farm? Because how are they gonna reproduce? Is there gonna be incest? I mean, come on. And then the fire kind of helped it out a little bit with that. But that's what I was getting to.
Well, I feel that maybe the world still has people in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if these people survive, there are other people out there that do too. But I don't know.
You could live off corn. Yeah.
Well, they lived off more than that. I mean, they had corn, salads.
Yeah. You notice that they never hunt. It looked like they never hunted for serious game. It was always just fish or corn.
Well, yeah, because all that game's already dead.
Yeah, probably all the animals are extinct. So that brought up another question: is what if these monsters started to get more aggressive because there's no more animals out there and they started hunting actual humans?
Well,
maybe that's where they're at now.
that's the thing. I mean, we don't know
Hmm.
because, in fact, we don't know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would have cheapened the movie. You know, I think it's perfect just the way it is.
Yep.
You know.
Kind of like how The Last of Us does a thing where they don't tell you the origin of the monsters. They're like the clickers and the infected. Shit just hits the fan.
That's actually a funny thing. You should mention that because they did mention it in Uncharted 3.
Do they?
It's an Easter egg.
Sweet.
There's a newspaper on the desk, and it says like infection breakout in a certain place. I mean, honestly, it's just to be like, hey, this is our next game.
Hmm.
But it's kind of cool to think like Nathan Drake was out there, doing
Mhm.
whatever. There was like an infection on the other side of the
Yeah.
world.
So
you
what
know?
I'm getting to is they did a hell of a job with the mystery side of things, and that keeps the audience interested a lot. It keeps people guessing. It keeps people thinking. And if you can do that, then you have yourself a really strong movie. I mean, as I'm speaking right now, I'm just thinking about these monsters. Like, where did they come from? They seem to have some type of human body figure. They have tentacles. They have.
Whoa.
They don't have
No.
tentacles.
They don't have tentacles.
They don't have tentacles. Let me back that up. They have
Elongated.
elongated, kind of
Arms
like
and
a
legs.
human body form, just mutated in a way. You could say that maybe they were a bad lab experiment. Maybe they were dug up from the ground millions of years ago. Maybe it was an alien drop
They
off.
were kind of like bipedal.
Well, I mean, I don't think they were like in a mutation or anything.
You don't think so?
Because, I mean, it would take a lot longer to end the
Yeah.
world with that in 89 days.
Plus, like, how would that mutation spread?
Yeah. I mean, we would have to start asking like a whole mess of other questions,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't get the answers for it. I think
Aliens, right?
No, I don't think aliens at all.
Well, yeah.
I think it was, and I know this is going to sound really like, okay, got it, recycle, but maybe like they were like up there and they polar ice caps,
Oh, okay.
and now that they're melting because human interference,
Hmm.
maybe something unbroken.
Did you happen to notice any of the newspapers? Maybe like Origin or.
Well, I noticed
I
that.
didn't get to read all of them, but
I noticed the death toll stuff. I
Mhm.
noticed the armor.
armor plating. Yeah.
Impervious, like how they hunt its sound.
Hmm.
There was a newspaper, it's sound, Other than that, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and plus, like, even if we freeze framed it, I doubt that they would put the origins on a newspaper.
Maybe
Yeah.
the director, people who wrote it, don't even know. It was like, hey, they don't need to know.
Well, someone definitely was like, don't Michael Bay this up. Because he would have. It was aliens.
Well, I'm pretty sure he would put like a 15-minute exposition scene.
Yeah, and then like Emily Blunt would be in like a schoolgirl outfit for no reason.
Mhm.
What do you think their careers were before all this took place? I think Emily Blunt's character was a teacher.
I
I
think
could
she
see
was
that.
a doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor.
On the description, it says she was a doctor.
Oh,
Oh, really?
On the Wikipedia page, and then it says the dad was an engineer.
I could see that. I could see that. 'cause
Oh my
he's one-
god! Like
Yeah.
that whole conversation about like he didn't know what to do. He knew what to do, but we didn't know that.
Yeah.
Only the Wikipedia said that.
Well, I mean, I think he knew what to do as a survivalist,
Yeah.
but I don't think he was an engineer in the sense that, because clearly he didn't know how to fix a hearing aid.
Mm-hmm.
But because that's something else entirely.
Yeah. I mean that's like micro
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did
like,
you
engineering.
Did you all happen to notice the picture of the human body in the ear, the inner ear? Like it had a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, on his book
Yeah.
he's referencing.
It was really interesting. I thought maybe that was just like I don't know.
Well, maybe
something
maybe
else.
he was trying to fix the hearing aid as if it was like an engineering way. Like, okay, so this nerve is connected to this and that,
But-
and
Yeah, like he's clearly trying to just teach himself how to make a hearing aid from the ground up. Like, well, I guess I better find out what the ear does.
yeah, I feel. Well, I guess that's the movie.
Yeah.
I'd say we wrap it up a bit. Ethan, why don't you start us off with a close?
I'm gonna start us off saying that, hey, do we know any other movies that are like this?
Well,
Things similar, maybe,
yeah.
but not like Made, where you have to be extremely quiet.
Well, being that it's new, something different, it's going to draw a huge audience. If you're listening in, definitely check it out. It is a great movie. I'm still giving it a 10 out of 10 just because of that. I'm giving that extra point for audience. We had a good crowd, so I hope you don't catch a bad crowd or try and not see this movie with a big crowd
Girl,
because
don't go in
yeah,
there.
this
Don't go
movie
in
it can be quiet at times, and
Hell, it's quiet like 90%.
90% of the time, and it will be ruined if you have crunch roll wrappers all over the place and people munching on popcorn. So
Go see it on like a Sunday.
go see it on a Sunday and then earlier day
or
yeah.
a weekday
Yeah.
when no one's out.
But 10 out of 10.
Well, it's so refreshing to see a movie give a shit
Mm-hmm.
about story, plot, characters,
Quality.
quality, good monsters,
Mm-hmm.
good scares, tense moments. Just love this fucking movie. 9 out of 10. Definitely go see it in the theater. See it however you can.
Mm-hmm.
Not illegally though. Don't do that.
No.
Go
We don't.
give movies like this money. Don't give fucking
Transformers 4.
Yeah, don't give stupid movies money. This is what I hate because we went to see Annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great movie.
Oh, but it failed.
It failed. It failed miserably. And I hate that. And definitely go check it out. Highly recommend.
I'm in the same territory. Wow, I just looked up Annihilation's numbers. It had a budget of $40 million, and it only grossed $32 at the box office.
See, this is why we can't have nice things.
But no, I definitely recommend A Quiet Place. 9 out of 10. I'm not a big horror aficionado, but I still loved it. Like,
Oh, we'll get you in there, bro.
yeah.
You even told me horror wasn't really your strong suit. Man, I'll send you on the road, man. We got some good stuff to watch.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, definitely seen the theaters. It deserves that like collective stare, the collective gasp.
Yeah.
That you just don't get from watching at home.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, man,
Oh,
get
no problem.
out of my mic. Nah, thanks to Ethan. I appreciate you coming, man. Feel free to come by, man.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all of you for listening, checking us out. If you like us, definitely smash the like button.
If you
Definitely
want,
subscribe if you
yeah.
want more.
if you want, definitely subscribe if you want to check out the retro review we're doing next weekend.
Oh, that's right. But then after that, the big one,
Avengers.
Avengers.
Dun, 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 dun,
What
dun,
is it?
dun.
Like 10 years of collective movies or something?
Yeah, since 2008
To
with Iron Man.
one movie.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope it's good.
Even when they
it
have
might
to
not be. You never
ruin
know.
Age of Ultron to do it.
Man, please don't let it be an Ultron situation. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. And
Mhm.
we will. Oh, and if you thought we were good, maybe some pointers, maybe some ideas.
Yeah, if you know better microphones to use that we should be using.
Better everything.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a comment. We really appreciate you. We really do. We'll definitely see you next time, guys. And have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.